Hello, Brian Burke here, and this is the Artsaganza Show. And today we are talking with, you are?
Chris Mock, the director, producer, and writer of the two Star Wars documentaries, The Force Among Us and The Force Within Us, and the very, very soon to be released The Walkers Among Us, which is actually released this Saturday.
Okay. And if you could tell us a bit about what's coming up this Saturday. It's April 25th.
Yeah, this Saturday, April 25th, at the Hollywood Boulevard Cinema, we are having our red carpet event. It's a one-day event only. The doors open at 10 o'clock. The movie starts at noon. It's a full-on red carpet event. Live music. There's going to be cast and crew from the film. Jay Bonansinga, the author, co-author with Robert Kirkman. Robert Kirkman is not going to be there, but Jay had co-written the novels with Robert Kirkman. He's going to be there, and Michelle Helmetzi, who's been in several films. She's been a walker on about four seasons now. She's going to be joining us as well, and both of them were interviewed in the Walkers Among Us documentary that we just finished up.
Okay, and this is also for charity, right?
Yeah, it's only a $2 cover. This is my third red carpet event, which has been a blessing in its own. We usually do a free red carpet premiere, but the cinema wanted to do an event where we charge just so they could keep track, because The Walking Dead is so huge right now, and I've always wanted to tie in charity with one of our events. So The Walking Hope is a charity that they make T-shirts, and they take 100% of the T-shirt sales, and they donate that to American Cancer Society. And The Walking Hope is actually supported and backed by AMC and a lot of the actors on the show. It's all for American Cancer Society, and it's only a $2 cover charge, and that's going to be our way of giving back as well.
Okay, and I should let people know you can buy your tickets now. You can go online and get them before they sell out. So
yeah, they're close to sold out. Actually, it's going to be quite an event, and I really recommend people getting there early, because even though the movie starts at noon, it's going to be hard to seat 300 plus people, at the movie theater.
I already bought mine.
All right, cool.
And there's also going to be some makeup stuff going on in the lobby?
Yeah, Nightmare on Chicago Street, based out of Elgin. They shut down the city of Elgin, and they kind of turned downtown into a zombie apocalyptic war zone, if you will. And they are going to be out there doing makeup for people to zombify them. They're going to be out there as well. So it's going to be a little festival, a little convention inside this premiere that we're doing.
So in the lobby of the theater.
In the lobby of the theater, yes.
I should point out this is the Hollywood Boulevard in Woodridge, so people know.
Not to be confused with Hollywood Palms.
That's
who
the other
does
one.
Similar things in Naperville.
So they're going to be doing that before the movie and then after the movie a bit as well?
Yeah, after the movie, I think we'll be doing a meet and greet. The cast and the crew from The Walkers Among Us will be talking to the fans that are there. I think they're going to probably give us like about an hour after the movie is over. So it'll be more of a mingle meet and greet type thing. I think all the makeup stuff happens before the movie starts. So there's a lot of things that people want to go see before noon.
Okay. And how did you come to do this about The Walking Dead? Why the show The Walking Dead?
Well, I just came off my second documentary, which oddly enough, both of my first films are Star Wars related. And I formed a company with a friend of mine, Ian Vasek, who is the director of photography on my projects. We started our business, Lust for Life Productions, and he said, I don't want to do another Star Wars project.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I do,
Yeah.
And I said, well, wow, I want to do something about the fans, because the fans you never hear about. The fans are the ones that really fuel the franchise. And being a fan of The Walking Dead, I realized that the show is so hot. They just announced a new show that's going to take place in LA. That starts very, very soon. They're still filming The Walking Dead. I said, we need to capture lightning in a bottle. I said, nothing has been done about the fans of The Walking Dead, and if we don't do it, somebody else will. So that was kind of, the birth of The Walkers Among Us and how it came to be. I was never a fan of the zombie franchise, believe it or not. I kind of became a fan through filming in Pittsburgh. We went out to Evans City where they filmed Night of the Living Dead. And we interviewed Tom Savini and Judith O'Dea, who was Barbara.
Oh, okay.
And we filmed in the cemetery. And it was just a really wonderful experience to in the documentary, The Walkers Among Us, we want to show to the fans what really inspired Robert Kirkman. Robert Kirkman just didn't wake up one morning and said, hey, I have this idea for a cool zombie comic or a cool zombie show. It really all started with, George Romero and Tom Savini and all what those guys have done. So we interviewed them, and that's kind of how The Walkers Among Us really opens up.
Yeah.
The birth of the zombie in Pittsburgh. And I kind of became a fan that way.
Yeah. So without Night of the Living Dead, there might not be a Walking Dead.
Oh, without Night of the Living Dead, there definitely would not be a Walking Dead for sure.
Should mention to people who don't know that The Walking Dead was a comic book first, and then it became a TV show, and now there's even video games of it as well.
Yeah, and I tell you, I think Robert Kirkman wakes up every morning and he's probably realizes that he's the luckiest man alive because as a comic book artist, I have friends that are comic book artists. It's impossible for a show to be picked up, and I mean, it's the biggest, hottest TV show right now.
Wow.
It's amazing on what that has done for not only the comic book industry, but for TV as well.
And a bit more about yourself, your history. How did you get involved in film? Did you start out wanting to be a filmmaker? Did you...
My journey into being a filmmaker happened in a very strange way. I went to Columbia College, but I was very much involved in the music business.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't even go to Columbia for film. And even though that's a really well-known film school, I had dreams of, when I was 5, 10 years old, I always had a dream, like, I want to be a movie star someday. But I think we all do, And never really took the road down the film industry until I met George Lucas in 2005. I had flown out from LA to London for the red carpet event and saw episode 3, went to Tunisia, went to the filming locations of Star Wars, and about 8 months later went by, so in 2006. And I asked my sister, I said, what do I do with my Star Wars fandom now? I don't want it to die. There was no talk of J.J. Abrams and 7, 8, and 9, and the future of Star Wars was kind of like, the prequels are over. Yeah. What's next? And my sister said, we should make a movie. We have all these friends and family that are just Star Wars fanatics. We should, you're a creative guy. Why don't you make a film? So I showed up at her house the next day, and she's like, well, what's this? I said, this is the script. She's like, well, we were having a couple pints. That was kind of drunk talk. And I said, no, I'm really, really serious about making a film. Shopped my idea around to independent filmmakers, got hosed, but I didn't pull the trigger. I didn't sign anything. My ex-wife at the time, and he still is a Hollywood guy. He worked on so many big Hollywood movies. I didn't want to approach myself to him like, hey, you're my wife's cousin, help me make this film. I asked him for advice, and he said, if anybody's going to make a passionate Star Wars movie about the fans, it's going to be you. Because you're Thanksgiving, you're like, hey, pass the mashed potatoes. Did you see the new Star Wars movie? He knew I was just so wrapped up in Star Wars that he thought that if I was going to do this, he would help me and we would do it right. And the rest is kind of history from there. That was kind of how I got into it. Being in the right place at the right time, having the right ideas, knowing the right people. And here I am we just started our 4th project at Star Wars Celebration last weekend. So I'm, kind of just going at it, if you will.
Okay. And by the way, what's your favorite out of the 6 movies, the Star Wars movies?
That's a tough question. That's a really, my least favorite is episode 2. I can tell you that.
Oh, really?
I can tell you that. That's my least favorite.
That's Attack of the Clones, right?
Attack of the Clones, yeah. I love them all. I would say Empire Strikes Back is the movie that I grew up on. I was 5 when that movie came out, so I'm from that generation. And but I love Revenge of the Sith. I thought Revenge of the Sith really tied in the old movies together, and it really gave us what we didn't get in the first 2 movies. And the story is so much darker than Empire Strikes Back. It really resonated with me.
I didn't quite hate the new ones as much as some people did, but I'd say my favorite was still Return of the Jedi. That was just for me. When you said you were 5 when you saw Empire Strikes Back, I was 5 when I saw Return of the Jedi.
And that's probably why it's your favorite.
And at first I saw it in the theater. I hadn't seen the others on the theater. I was too little. So that was the first one I saw in the theater, 1983. So.
It's funny. I was having a conversation with some of my friends that were older. and they were 7 and 8 when A New Hope came out.
Yeah.
And they hated the Ewoks, and they were not collecting the toys because they were older. And I said, well, that's why I still love the Ewoks, and that's
Yeah.
why I was into those movies, because, I was, 5, 6, 8 years old when Return of the Jedi came out, so it was still for my audience, and
Yeah.
for your audience as well. A New Hope,
Yeah.
a lot of the people that were around and saw that in the theater when they were 7 and 8, I think Return of the Jedi and Droids cartoon and Ewoks cartoon.
Oh yeah, I remember that too.
That
Yeah.
was probably something that we were both into.
Yeah.
But for an older fan of the generation, they were kind of tapped out by then. They were on the, into cars and women at that time. They grew up a little before we did.
I'd say my second favorite is Empire Strikes Back, and my third would be Revenge of the Sith. That's just me.
Yeah, I would say that's a good order. I would say I also what order would you watch them in? If
Oh,
somebody said,
boy.
I've never seen them before, what order would you watch them in?
Because I saw it's hard to say that because I saw them so far apart, the 3 prequels and the 3 originals.
Yeah.
That it would be harder to do that. I guess if I had to, I'd tell them to watch the prequels, like if it was my kids or something, because that's part of the story now.
Sure,
So it's
sure.
like, yeah, you should watch these prequels first and then go into Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that makes sense.
I probably would have to do it that way for them, And
There's
then they
so
got
many-
the new ones coming out, which I guess take place after Return of the Jedi. from what I
Yeah,
heard.
7, 8, 9 will, it'll be all chronological.
That should be cool.
So I guess my daughter, who's 7 months now, I guess she'd have to, if I go in that order, then we're gonna miss 7, 8, 9 in the theater.
Yeah.
I want to bring her to the movie theater when she's 1.5, because I know my dad took me to see A New Hope
Oh, yeah?
when I was 2 years old, but I don't remember it really. I mean,
Yeah.
but I was there because back in the day, the movie business has changed so much. A New Hope you could see in the cinema 3 years after it was released, because they would always bring it back for a couple months. Now it's movies in the theater for 2 months and it's on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
It's much more faster paced now than it was way back.
Yeah, I saw the first ones on video and then saw Return of the Jedi in the theater. So, when you've done so far, just documentaries, right? Those are the only films.
Yeah,
you've
well,
made?
I did. Walkers is my third documentary, and we just started a fan reality show. We're going to start a fan reality show series called The Real Fans of the Saga. And we're, of course, the first season that we're working on is Star Wars fans.
Okay.
We follow 5 to 7 Star Wars fans around and capture them. It's very, very much a reality TV style show.
Okay.
Which is very, very different than what we've ever done.
And
so
this is going to be available online or something? Or?
yeah, these will be more webisodes, and then we'll do a Kickstarter campaign probably during the summertime, and the end product will be like season 1 on DVD. So all the webisodes, all the episodes available, downloadable,
Yeah.
and then we'll have it all on DVD. That's the thing about being a Star Wars fan. You still need something to walk away with in your hands.
Yeah.
You just can't have a download. It's cool to do a download, but you have to have a collector's item,
Yeah, physical thing.
Yeah, physical thing, So that's what we're gonna end up doing with that one.
Maybe you want Transformers sometime. I'm a big fan of that.
That we're gonna do a Transformers one, Indiana Jones,
Yeah.
Ghostbusters. I mean, the list is really on and on and on. It's something that we're gonna do long term.
Cool.
For sure.
I'm much more a fan of the older stuff than the new Michael Bay stuff. I don't like those.
Yeah, I'm sure
I like
there's a
the old
fine.
80s cartoon.
I'm sure there's a fine line, as there is with Star Wars. I mean, there's a lot of people that love the original trilogy, but they can't stand the prequels.
Yeah.
I personally love them all. I
Yeah,
really do.
I didn't hate them as much, but I guess I'll always have a soft spot for Return of the Jedi. That's still my favorite.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's like-
Same for me with Empire, And actually, you talk about Return of the Jedi when we made our second documentary, The Force Within Us, which is more of my biopic. It really follows me around a lot. We go up to Northern California, way up north to Smith River, and we actually interviewed a lot of people that worked on Return of the Jedi, a lot of the cast and crew members that were locals, because they hired like 400 locals that worked up there.
Wow.
And it was really, really cool to not only be in that environment, but to hear all these stories from the people that worked on Jedi. And they never left because they were born and raised there. You know, we interviewed Han Solo, Harrison Ford stand-in, a couple of the stormtroopers, a couple of the Ewok handlers. So I'll always love Jedi too. You know, that was second favorite as well.
Do you have any plans to do a non-documentary film?
You know, I always said that I will never do a feature film, but never say never.
Yeah.
I just think dealing with actors is a whole nother monster. I like the concept of documentaries and reality TV because it's following people around. And a lot of people say reality TV is scripted, but there's still an element of reality
Yeah.
because they're not actors, you know?
Some of them are. I know some are totally real and some are scripted.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's, to tell you the truth, I think it's, you know, after shooting all weekend in a house with, you know, these people for this Star Wars reality show we're doing, it's pretty damn hard to not have something scripted. And it's impossible to have the cameras rolling all the time. It's not realistic, you know? So you kind of have to have somebody say, hey, do that again,
Yeah.
or have that conversation again.
Yeah.
You know, there's always going to be a little element of that. But I don't think a feature film, I don't know if that's something that I really, really want to do. Maybe before I die, I'll do one, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm going to stick to documentaries and, you know, this fan reality show that we've just kind of came up with.
Yeah, I heard like the Jersey Shore, Real World, those are scripted, but like the Deadliest Catch, that's not scripted. That's just
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that for
Because
sure.
people have actually died on the Deadliest Catch. I saw. an
Yeah, how
episode
can you
with-
script that, right?
Yeah, two guys drowned, and it's like, whoa, no, that can't be scripted.
Yeah, exactly.
So before you go, anything else you'd like to mention? Some upcoming projects people can look for your stuff and.
No, just real quick, for anybody that doesn't know about our Star Wars films, the first Star Wars documentary that we made, it sold out, so we re-released the director's cut.
Okay.
And it's pretty much a Hallmark card to Star Wars fans. We shot in Norway, where they filmed The Empire Strikes Back. We also filmed in Tunisia, where they filmed the Tatooine scenes. And the second one, The Force Within Us, it has a lot more of the Star Wars celebrities, and it's kind of how did Star Wars change your life kind of thing. It's much more deeper than just, you know, showcasing a variety of fans. It really gets to why do you love Star Wars so much? Has it changed your life? How has it changed your life? And then when we filmed, like I said, we filmed that in Northern California, and we also filmed that in Death Valley, where they filmed the Return of the Jedi scenes, like Jabba's palace.
Okay.
And they also did a lot of the pickups from A New Hope. So they're two different films. If you've seen the first one, you need to see the second one, but you don't have to watch them in necessarily any order.
Okay.
And The Walkers Among Us interviewed a lot of different celebrities, and it's pretty much a journey into the fandom of The Walking Dead. You know, we take a look at a lot of different fans and kind of why you do what you do, kind of thing.
And you have another Star Wars movie coming up after this.
Well, yeah, the next project we're doing, we'll probably start production on next year. It'll be The Force Around Us. It'll close out the trilogy.
Okay.
And The Force Around Us is really the environment, you know, around you.
Okay.
All about the filming locations. That'll be. And then you can go to theforceamongus.com. You can follow us at Facebook under that same name. And if you're just a Walking Dead fan and you're not into Star Wars, you can follow us at the Walkers Among Us and the Facebook page. And you can also, walkersamongus.com, if you can't make it to the premiere this weekend, the walkersamongus.com, you can buy the DVD from that website as well.
Now, is the DVDs for the two Star Wars ones are already available?
Yeah, they've already been available, yes.
Okay, but the Walkers Among Us, when will that be available?
That will be available to the street this Saturday, to the public
really?
this Saturday.
Oh, that's soon.
So they'll be on my doorstep Thursday, and but nobody will be actually to see the film until the film itself has the red carpet debut. And then after that, people will be able to buy DVDs there, and people that can't make the premiere, they'll be able to get DVDs after that date as well.
That's cool. So, folks, go out and buy his DVDs.
Support independent filmmaking.
And what was the other one you had coming up? The Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah, that stuff's gonna probably happen next year. You know,
Yeah.
I gotta kind of take one project at a time.
Sure.
But that'll be the real fans of the saga Ghostbusters.
Yeah. They had the cartoon, too, for a long time. That was...
Yeah, we're gonna get into all that, and that'll be a fan reality show. We'll follow about 5 to 6 different Ghostbusters fans around at conventions and you know, in their living room and, you know, day-to-day life kind of stuff. you know, unscripted but semi-scripted, because you got to give some people some kind of direction, you know.
Okay, well, that sounds really cool. Thanks for coming by.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me.
And nothing else you want to mention? That's pretty
I
much
think
it.
I think that it does it. I can't express to people if you love Star Wars and if you love The Walking Dead, definitely spend the $20 per DVD, and if you don't like it, I'll give you your money back.
Yeah. And definitely come to the showing this Saturday, April 25th, at the Hollywood Boulevard Theater in Woodridge.